For more than 3 decades, Benny Hill brought laughter to millions with his unique blend of slapstick, wordplay, fast-paced sketches, and unforgettable musical themes. The Benny Hill Show became one of Britain's most recognizable comedy programs, earning international popularity and turning its creator into a household name. Hill's mischievous expressions, exaggerated characters, and energetic performances made him a global comedy icon. Yet behind the cheerful image and endless laughter was a growing controversy that would eventually change public opinion about his work. A sketch from the late 1980s became a symbol of shifting attitudes toward comedy, raising questions about whether Hill's style still belonged in a changing cultural landscape. The controversy surrounding that moment contributed to the decline of a program that had once seemed unstoppable and marked the beginning of the end for one of television's most famous entertainers. The early life of Alfred Hawthorne Hill. Alfred Hawthorne Hill, better known as Benny Hill, was born on January 21, 1924, in Southampton, Hampshire, England, although some records suggest 1925 as his birth year. His childhood was shaped by a family connection to performance and entertainment. His grandfather, Henry Hill, had worked as a circus clown, creating an early link to the world of comedy and show business. His father, Alfred Hill, managed a surgical appliance shop, while his mother, Helen, played an important role in his upbringing. Benny attended Taunton School in Southampton, but his path toward entertainment was not immediate. Before becoming a performer, he worked a variety of jobs, including positions at Woolworths, as a milkman, a driver, a bridge operator, and a drummer. These experiences exposed him to different personalities and situations that later influenced the colorful characters and humorous situations he created throughout his career. War service and the beginning of performance. During World War II, Benny Hill was called into military service and joined the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. He trained as a mechanic and later served in roles including truck driver and searchlight operator. His wartime experiences placed him among the many people involved in supporting the Allied efforts during the liberation of Europe. In 1944, he was sent to Normandy, where his technical skills contributed to military operations. Before the war ended, Hill transferred to the Combined Services Entertainment Division, an organization created to entertain troops and maintain morale. This period became extremely important for his future career. Performing for soldiers helped him develop confidence, timing, and an understanding of how to connect with audiences in different circumstances. Inspired by British music hall performers and comedians such as Jack Benny, he adopted the stage name Benny Hill. The combination of performance experience and wartime discipline prepared him for his eventual rise in entertainment. Finding success through radio and television. Benny Hill's professional entertainment career began with radio, which was one of the most influential forms of entertainment in post-war Britain. On October 5, 1947, he appeared on the BBC radio program Variety Bandbox, where his quick humor and flexible performance style attracted attention. Radio helped him develop his comedic voice, although his early career included both successes and disappointments. Some programs connected strongly with audiences, while others failed to gain popularity. These challenges helped him refine his approach and strengthen his ability to adapt. In 1950, Hill made his first television appearance, opening a new chapter in his career. Television allowed him to combine verbal humor with physical comedy, facial expressions, and visual storytelling. These elements would later become central to his signature style. By experimenting with different characters and formats, Hill gradually established himself as a performer capable of creating memorable comedy that reached audiences beyond traditional stage and radio entertainment. The birth of The Benny Hill Show. The Benny Hill Show premiered on January 15, 1955, on the BBC and marked the beginning of a television legacy that would last for decades. The program combined elements of British music hall entertainment with modern television production, featuring sketches, character performances, parody, and physical comedy. Hill quickly developed a reputation for creating unusual characters and humorous situations that relied on exaggerated behavior and clever timing. During the BBC years, several performers helped shape the show, including Patricia Hayes, Jeremy Hawke, Peter Vernon, Ronnie Brody, and writer Dave Freeman. One of the most memorable collaborators was Jackie Wright, whose appearances alongside Hill became a defining part of the program. Wright's calm reactions to Hill's exaggerated antics made their partnership especially popular with viewers. Although the show faced competition and changing television trends, Hill's creative energy allowed it to remain distinctive and build a loyal audience. A new era of international popularity. In 1969, Benny Hill moved the program from the BBC to Thames Television, creating a new era for the series. Instead of producing frequent weekly episodes, the show shifted toward longer television specials. This format gave Hill more time to develop elaborate sketches, musical performances, and large-scale comedy sequences. The change helped expand the show's international appeal, and it was eventually broadcast in countries around the world. Hill's comedy relied heavily on physical humor, which allowed many jokes to be understood regardless of language barriers. He often played a wide variety of roles, from ordinary people caught in ridiculous situations to exaggerated figures of authority. His ability as a writer, actor, and impressionist made him the driving force behind the program's success. Although he sometimes used ideas from other performers and writers, Hill remained the central creative figure who shaped the identity and style of the show. The famous chase sequences and comedy style. One of the most recognizable features of the Benny Hill Show was its famous closing chase sequence. These fast-paced scenes became a trademark of the program and usually featured Hill, along with other performers, running through streets, parks, or unusual locations in a chaotic display of physical comedy. The sequences used a filming technique called undercranking, where footage was recorded at a slower speed and played back normally to create exaggerated movement. This gave the chases their distinctive energy and absurd humor. The scenes often included recurring figures such as police officers, elderly characters, and other exaggerated personalities. While many viewers found these sequences entertaining and harmless, critics increasingly questioned some of the themes and portrayals used in Hill's comedy. As society's views on humor, representation, and entertainment changed, elements that were once accepted began to receive stronger criticism. The very style that had helped make Hill famous also became a source of controversy. Growing criticism and changing public attitudes. By the late 1980s, attitudes toward comedy had changed significantly. Audiences and critics began examining older forms of humor more closely, especially jokes involving stereotypes, gender, and social behavior. A controversial sketch from The Benny Hill Show became one of the most discussed examples of this shift. The sketch, which involved a parody beauty pageant and the portrayal of women in a way many viewers considered objectifying, attracted criticism for being outdated and insensitive. What had once been viewed as cheeky entertainment was increasingly interpreted by some as inappropriate. The backlash reflected broader changes in society and television standards. Comedy programs were facing greater expectations to consider how their humor affected different groups of viewers. Although the controversy was not the only reason for the show's decline, it became a major symbol of the growing disconnect between Hill's traditional comedic style and changing cultural expectations. The end of an era. Despite decades of popularity and international success, The Benny Hill Show was eventually canceled in 1989. Thames Television decided not to continue producing new episodes, with changing audience tastes and criticism surrounding the program contributing to the decision. Hill's comedy, once celebrated for its energy and originality, had become increasingly controversial in a television environment that was moving in new directions. The cancellation represented the end of one of Britain's longest-running comedy careers. However, Benny Hill's influence on entertainment remained significant. His use of visual comedy, character transformation, and rapid editing techniques inspired many performers and television creators. While opinions about his work became divided, his impact on popular culture could not be ignored. He had created a distinctive style that reached millions of people worldwide and left behind a collection of performances that remain recognizable decades later. The legacy of Benny Hill. Benny Hill's career remains a fascinating example of how comedy evolves alongside society. He experienced extraordinary success, from his early days in radio and theater to becoming an international television star. His performances brought joy to audiences across generations, and his unique approach to physical comedy made him one of the most recognizable entertainers of his time. At the same time, the controversy surrounding his later work demonstrates how cultural standards and public expectations can change over time. The sketch that contributed to criticism of The Benny Hill Show became part of a larger conversation about humor, respect, and representation in entertainment. Whether remembered as a comedy genius or as a performer whose style belonged to another era, Benny Hill remains an important figure in television history. His career represents both the power of comedy to connect with audiences and the challenges entertainers face when society's views continue to evolve.